Hi, welcome back to Sweet Tree Hill Farm. My name is Kathy Oliver, and I am in the process of working on a sock for a custom order. And I have prior videos that show how the hung hem cuff is made. And the last video showed how we changed colors. So right now, we're actually going to do a combination of changing a color and doing a heel. So we're at the point where we want to do the heel. We've done almost 3 rows of this light gray color. And so what I want to do is we're going to start getting ready for the heel. And that means taking half these needles out of work. We have this nifty little moon-shaped gadget. And all it does is lift up these needles. It saves my fingers from doing it because the needles are sharp. We can do that kind of all at once. All right, so we've got half the needles up, if you can see. And then we're finished this last row. Okay, so now we have a situation where our heel is going to be this color, which is this silver streak gray. And so we're finished with that tool. Put that down. Now I have a little technique. If I want to keep this light gray going. I don't want to cut the yarn because I'm going to work it back in again. As soon as I finish the heel, I'm going to continue on with 3 rows of that color. I choose to not cut it because I want to have as few ends to weave in. As also it helps more with the integrity of the sock. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this off, and I want to weight it. And at the same time, I want to keep that thin piece of lycra going. So what I do is I will put it behind, about 3 needles behind. And then I take a little weight. That's what this is. I kind of made it out of just parts of stuff. You can weight it with anything you want, but I use a big safety pin. It's actually for holding down quilts. And then we basically drop it in and we weight this and we have it out of the way. All right. So now we want to get our gray yarn, and I want to pull it through the mast. And I don't want to move my camera because technically the mast is just basically it's a thing that holds the yarn above the work. All right, so I'm popping that in here. All right, so here it comes. Yay. There's the mast. That's right above there. You can see it there, but we'll move it back. Okay, so now we're going to take that color and we're going to go maybe 2 needles back, and I'm going to put it in there, and then let the I'm sorry, I'm fiddling here. Let the tail go down. I'm trying to get it away from the challenge with this lycra is things kind of get caught on it. Okay, so we got that down. I'm going to take that lycra and the yarn, and I'm going back and I'm kind of pulling forward the yarn mass, and I want to put that into the yarn mass. Okay. All right. Now the other thing I want to do is to get ready. I'm going to raise this particular needle. If I need to move this back a little to do it. Okay, there we go. All right. Another thing I'm going to do, I need to weight down the area in front of the heel. So I have these weights. They're these silver forks that are bent. All right. And then they have these weights attached to them, as you can see. All right. And I've got 3 of them. All right, so I'm going to hook them underneath right here. There's different ways of weighting down. There's different tools to use. I kind of like these guys. I'm going to put this in the middle right here. Hook that in. And where's my third one? Here it is. Buried. Okay. All right, so they're hooking underneath. Like that'll keep these stitches weighted down as I do the heel. All right, so I'm going to come around. I'm just going to firm up everything here a little bit. And we're going to begin. I want to make sure, this is always a challenge, right on that corner of where that heel is, I want to make sure that yarn is tucked in under those needles. And usually what I do is I hold this piece of yarn down a little bit till the first stitches are caught. And then I'm going to work my way around here. Okay. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to lower one needle just a little bit. And I'm going to take, this is basically to get a nice corner without holes or gaps. And it helps to do this anyway. Basically what it does is it creates a nice tight corner right here. So I put that behind that needle, bring that back up, and then I'm going to pull up that next needle. And I don't know if you can see this little pink mark right there, but that's the beginning of the heel. And what we're doing is what's called short rows. We're going back and forth instead of around. All right. Another thing I'm doing is on the mast, which is above my work, I use what's called a heel spring, which kind of gives a little more tension to the yarn so it's not so floppy and goes into the needles nicely. Okay, now we're ready. And again, the same thing. I just want to make sure I'm looking real closely, make sure the yarn is coming underneath those needles. All right. And we're going around. Okay, so we've come. Now the next row, we're going to keep going. We're going to do short rows, and we're going to pick up the first needle of each short row. So that's picking that needle up out of work, and we're making shorter and shorter rows so that we form the cup of the heel. Same thing. On each side we're doing that. Oops. Got to make sure your yarn carrier goes far enough around so you can lift up that needle. All right, so we've lifted that up. Now we're going to keep doing this. And we do it slowly. We don't rush this. It's very tough to pick up a drop stitch. And I know my table's shaking a little. So we try to be very careful. So we're picking up that, coming around. Now what I'm paying attention to as well, looks like this is starting to ride up a little bit on that first needle. After a few of these short rows, I'll notice that the corner will want to ride up a little, like right there. So what that tells me, I'll push that down a little bit, lift that up, is that I need to raise my forks here. Because what's happening is it's not pulling down quite as well as it was doing initially. And so you just take your time. All right, we've already raised that. So you can see right here, you can see the heel starting to form. All right, we're going to do this until, I don't know if you can see it, but right here is a pink and right here is a pink. That's going to signal to me that we're going to start elongating the robe. Right now we're still shortening it. We're still lifting up the first needle of each short row. All right, so this one popped up a little bit on the top of that needle, so I'll push that down, and we might need to move our forks again. And we're moving them up. Okay, we've got that needle lifted. Okay. And I tend to start holding things down a little bit as we get towards the shortest row. I'll move these up again. This one maybe. It's very easy for some of these stitches to pop off, so I kind of move slowly here. Once we get to the shortest row, we won't have to keep moving those heel forks up. We're almost there. Okay. I think this might be the last time I have to move it. I probably don't have to move them that often, but I tend to. I always like to err on the side of caution. I don't like those stitches popping off those needles. Oops, got a latch in the way. All right, so this one, see, we're at that point where we see those little marks right there. That means that this will be the last short row, the shortest of the short rows. Now, what we do at this point, we're going to raise one, and now we're going to start elongating the stitches on this heel. So we're going to put these two down, and we don't put them down so far that closes the needles. We just put them down just far enough, and so that the latches can close. And because some people put them down too far and they close the latches, and then you drop a stitch. All right, so we've done that, and those are catching good. So same thing, so we're going to raise now on this side and lower two on that side. Oop, didn't lower quite enough. Oop, got a little catch there.